And what a week. You may remember last week sometime in my double long podcast episodes that I said that something snapped. For both of you on YouTube that are watching, behind me is the same blue paint splash artwork in honor of the police painting the Hong Kongers blue. I just, look, I'm not going to go on and on about Hong Kong, but I want to give you my latest snap. Something snapped last week, something snapped this week, and something didn't snap. And it's just really interesting. Here on my personal podcast weekly, I, your dear host, Jesse Steele, the all podcast father, the wearer of many hats, adventurer par excellence in Taiwan, and got personal stuff going on at home in the States. Kind of sad, kind of hard to get up and function today, but what am I going to do other than keep functioning? Stopping my life and making myself weaker and making myself sick is not going to help anyone at home. And I can't do anything else at home right now. Things are probably okay. But I would be home a lot more if Taiwan's government didn't hate foreigners more than America's government, however much that is. America's government gives more justice to foreigners than Taiwan's. And I am going to continue to fight the good fight. It's the best I'm stuck with doing. What can Joseph do when he's locked in a dungeon? Organize the dungeon. Why not? Okay. So I'm organizing the dungeon. No, Taiwan, and I talk about this in the Taiwan special, but this is the weekly My Life announcements podcast stuff for Jesse enthusiasts, both of you. Actually, there's a number of you. I watched the podcast, and I'm honored, and I love you very much. And I share this with you because I'm, maybe this is my out. I'm surrounded by Mandarin speakers, and this is kind of the only English I get. Most people would say that since I talk all the time, which I don't know where they get that impression, but that I don't really need to hear what anyone else is saying, but that the podcast gives me one of the best things yet, which is a stop button. And I always say that it gives something better, which is rewind and infinite loop. But I'll tell you, I'm stuck here. I came and tried to help people in Taiwan. I wanted international experience because I believe Americans need it. I sure got it. America needs more people to know what I know so we can just govern. It's not partisan. The stuff I learned in Taiwan has nothing to do with stuff Democrats or Republicans even think about. And I'm talking about the politicians. And, let alone the voters. The society just doesn't know. We need to know about people. We have international laws. We have laws for foreigners. We should understand foreigners. And going over to visit isn't it. Look, there was a release this past week. It's at the Pacific Daily Times, pacificdailytimes.com. I listed it there. Some survey rated Taiwan like the fourth best country in the world according to expats. Obviously, those expats didn't include blue-collar workers in Taiwan from Thailand and the Philippines and Vietnam. They were not interviewing the students who had studied abroad in Taiwan, and they did not interview, obviously, the PhD candidates who flunked out because professors never let PhD students graduate until about 7 years when scholarship money runs out at 5, and the government's paying for this. So I just, Taiwan's one of those countries that if you're rich, they'll show you the best while they're just mean to their own people and foreigners from poor countries or poor foreigners, such as yours truly. So I try to do my best. I'm so glad I saw this truth. I'm not the least bit angry for having seen it. But I'm dealing with this, and I'm required to spend money on meaningless short-term trips and other things, while I'm not allowed to spend the same amount of money to go home and visit my mother once in a while and say hello to the family and to clean up around the house and to talk to the neighbors and I can't do those things. And I want you to know I have a heart, and I have things that I do, and I don't wear my snot on my sleeve. I keep it together. But this week, something snapped again. Last time something snapped, it was when the police in Hong Kong started spraying protesters blue. Something snapped. I'm not sure why. Something just got me all upset. Now, this week, the Hong Kong CEO, basically, she withdrew the bill that made people angry 3 months ago. And pretty much it's a Band-Aid on a small scratch that turned to gangrene. That's pretty much how the Hong Kongers are chalking it up. And they'll say too little, too late. I immediately predicted that it would turn violent. I still believe so. It's going to get violent. If there's problems long enough, peaceful people will have to do something. I mean, what is it? The tree of liberty must be cleansed or whatever with the blood of tyrants and patriots. Eventually that's where it goes. If you want peace, you have to listen. And Carrie Lam, essentially, she withdrew the bill that made people mad 3 months ago. But then the other stuff, she said, okay, we can talk about universal suffrage. We'll talk about it. Only after you all settle down and behave yourselves. And that's what the arrogant Chinese look on her face says. I'm talking Chinese culture, Confucian culture. She's the grandmother who thinks that she's going to be the household god when she dies. Literally, you die, they make an idol to you and put it on the top floor of your house. Mom and dad will go up to the top floor of the house and pray to dead grandmother when she's gone, and that is your god. And so while she's alive, she looks at you with incredible disdain and arrogance. Because disrespecting her, disobeying her every whim, letting her know that she almost burned the house down by leaving the stove on, things like that. You don't talk that way to your God. And they get this arrogance built into their facial expressions. And she wears that expression when she gives her speech. And the young generation, at least half of them, active Christians who get along with the other local churches, by the way, they're not going to want that. Yeah, they're not going to want that. So, as bad as that is, it didn't snap with me. It didn't make me angry. I knew it would make some people angry, but it didn't make me angry. Blue, painting the people blue, made me angry for some reason. I really don't know why. But this week, it wasn't Carrie Lam, as bad as it is, or whatever, as bad as it seems, as bad as it will be for others. It didn't make me snap. For me, it's news. I understand it, but I'm not emotionally wrapped up in it. I got emotionally wrapped up with something else this week. Something snapped in me. It's brief. It's short. I'll tell you now. Okay. All right. I've looked back at helping. I'm gonna talk about this in the Taiwan special this week. I've looked back at helping people, and I'm looking at people I've helped, and some people I'd help as a friend, and they're awesome, and they're amazing people, and they're friends, and they help me, and we're great friends together. Other people I've helped has ruined their lives. And I'm asking myself, should I be helping Taiwan? I don't know. I think I should. But I'm just, I don't want to hurt, the mother who ties her children's shoes when they're 10 years old so their children never learn to tie their own shoes. And she goes to school to pick them up, and she's there with the other kids around, and she's tying her son's shoes, and he's acting like he's finally getting what he deserved all day and couldn't get. Oh, no, you don't see that happen because you haven't lived in Taiwan. But I don't want to be like that. I just don't want to be like that. Something snapped and made me ask. And that's what happened with me this week. More coming next week. Oh, of course, I've been doing software stuff, crazy, wonderful stuff. I'm going to keep that going. Of course, I'm always working on stuff. Always got stuff going. I've got to cut this. See you tomorrow.